Willkommen to our new podcast called Führer. My name is Kate.
And I'm Kayla.
And today our topic, or our primary, sort of what we're going to be talking about is the Nazi regime and how it rose to power with the implication of Volksgemeinschaft.
Today's topic is the Nazi German athletic endorsement and how it led to the maintenance of power for the Nazi regime in the years leading up to and during the Second World War.
This was really important because in 1936 is when the Nazi Germany, before it really evolved into World War II, hosted the Olympic Games. So this sort of the Olympic Games became a real vessel for them to communicate their knowledge.
Our definition is the utilization of sports propaganda in order to camouflage the increasing awareness and support for the Nazi Party dogma. To begin our background info, it's important to highlight the fact that before the Second World War, Nazi Germany had the opportunity of a lifetime to host both the 1936 Olympic and Olympic Games for summer and winter, which set the stage for the hidden Nazi propaganda during the Games. Leading up to the Games, the Nazi Party really needed a medium for control over the German population, so they saw that as the Olympic Games. The International Olympic Committee, the IOC, and Hitler made an agreement for neutrality and inclusion, which basically
it shifted perspective away from Nazi Germany doing Nazi Germany stuff and shifted perspective of the outer world to be like, okay, what Germany is doing is okay, which really helped Nazi regime solidify their power within Germany because they didn't have any checks or balances on what they were doing. With the start of the Olympics Games came the formulation of teams, and with Nazi ideology came the focus on the Aryanization of Germany. Aryanization was to define it was during this rise to power, the Nazi regime focused on the purification of Germany, and in order to carry out many policies within Germany that excluded Jews from participation in activities or participation in German society, in order to efforts to push them out. And this ideology was extremely important to the maintenance of Nazi power in Germany. In 1933, the Nazi Sports Office ordered public sport and gymnastic organizations to implement an Aryans-only policy. This policy found many Jews excluded from competitions and helped shape the perception of Jews as weak because they were not being glorified within the athletic system. This strengthened Aryanization within Germany, which helped set forward Volksgemeinschaft. Despite this policy being put in place in 1933, German Jewish athletes still participated in the Games for Germany. Although policies like these were still implemented in Germany, many Jewish athletes still participated in the Games, like Helen Mayer, who participated in the Games as a fencer and won the silver medal, although it was emphasized by others that she competed out of her love for Germany rather than because she wanted to make a statement against anti-Semitism. This glossing over of an actual problem was a common occurrence within Nazi Party and during Nazi regime over Germany, and something that helped maintain their power. Despite the fact that many German Jews were well accomplished in their sporting events, the implication of Aryanization prevented them from competing. For Lily Hennock, she had been established as the best female athlete in the Berlin Sports Club, the BSC, although she was kicked out of the BSC when Aryanization was implemented. Despite wanting success at their home Olympics, Germany still took action against some of their best athletes, so the perception of Jews would be weak. In 1942, Lily Hennock and her mother were shot and buried in a mass grave in Riga, Latvia. We'll take a look at an opinion from the historian Victor Kempler, who he lived in Nazi Germany and he had a lot of opinions after it. His quote states from one of his private journals, "The Olympics, which are now ending, are doubly repugnant to me. As an absurd overestimation of the sport, the honor of a nation depends on whether a fellow citizen can jump 4 inches higher than all the rest. In any case, a Negro from the United States jumped the highest of all, and the Jew's Helen Mayer won the fencing silver medal for Germany. I don't know which one is more shameless, her participating as a German of the Third Reich, or the fact that her achievement is claimed for the Third Reich." So that sort of just demonstrates how it sort of was recognized that what Germany was doing was glorifying Jews and making themselves appear better through advertisements of the Olympic Games and advertisements of those within the Olympic Games, was them just contradicting all the stuff they said, but it still really highlighted importance of how Nazi regime was able to maintain their power during this period and in periods continuing forward.
The hosting of the Olympic Games in Berlin brought up a lot of global controversy around the world, specifically because of the preconceptions of the use and treatment of degenerate populations, so much so that the head of the U.S. Olympic Committee, Avery Brundage, had an interview with Jews in Germany and deemed that their treatment was fair. So the U.S. accepted the German invitation for their participation in the Games. There were a lot of boycott movements and Western country opposition to Berlin hosting the Games. The Winter Games happened before the Summer Games and marked the country's re-entrance into the international community and public eye. The games were an exercise in public relations for Nazi Germany. According to Matthew Halton of the Toronto Daily Star, who attended the games, Germany's Minister of Propaganda, Joseph Goebbels, instructed all Nazi orators to take a rest until after the Olympics, which really tried to help Germany take away the militaristic and controlling idea that everybody else had of them. Anti-Semitic signs and publications were removed from the region for the duration of the games as a concession to the IOC. One figure skater remarked to Matthew Halton he could no longer believe the negative reports the journalists had written about Nazi Germany, as no people as courteous as these could persecute Jews or militarize a whole country.
The Summer Olympic Games happened after the Winter Olympic Games, and on August 1st of 1936, Adolf Hitler drove through the streets of Berlin where he received a hero's welcome when arriving at the stadium before declaring the Summer Olympic Games open. During the Olympic ceremony, it was traditional to do an Olympic salute. Although during the opening ceremony for the Summer Olympic Games, when the Canadians used the gesture, it was confused as the Nazi salute, which rendered a roaring approval from the crowd. This sort of demonstrates the indirect influence of the Nazi Party and how they dictated the point of view of the Olympic Games in Germany, despite not interfering directly in all cases. That wasn't the only time the German Nazi salute was done at the Olympics. Take a look at this account by Jesse Owens when he was on the Ed Sullivan Show being interviewed after the 1936 Olympics.
We had knelt and received the wreath of victory from the German maidens, and standing there facing the stands, from a faraway distance, we could hear the strains of the Star-Spangled Banner. As the people in the stands stood, the Germans gave the Nazi salute. The Americans gave the American salute.
I think it's really interesting how Jesse sort of portrays Germany within that account, and sort of how he really demonstrates that Nazis still it was still really present. People recognized it was there, but it didn't have the presence of evilness to it. It had a presence of power because they were celebrating him and his win, despite him being what would typically be considered a degenerate, so to say. Now, with American track star Jesse Owens came in the pause. Now talk about Jesse Owens. American track star Jesse Owens, who we just did hear an interview from, was a star of the 1936 Olympics. He won 4 gold medals at the games, and he did so while wearing Dassler shoe. As we just talked about, American track star Jesse Owens was the star of the 1936 Olympics. He won 4 gold medals at the games, and he did so while wearing the Dassler Sports Shoe Factory, which were track shoes that were made in Germany. The Dassler Sports Shoe Factory was run by brothers Rudolf Rudi Dassler and Adolf Adi Dassler. Originally, they made football and running shoes, and when Hitler rose to power, they joined the Nazi Party in order to keep their business afloat. Through a connection to Josef Weitzer, they were able to establish a relationship with many athletes during the 1936 Games, with Jesse Owens being one of them. Their shoes, made of leather and had long, handmade spikes at the bottom of them, were worn by Owens during his Olympic trials, where he beat Germany in their own German shoes. Despite this insult to Germany, as one might say, sales in the Dassler Brothers company grew, and the popularization of the Nazi German brand skyrocketed. This indirect endorsement of the Nazi Party is yet another example about how the Nazi Party aimed to create Volksgemeinschaft and maintain their power, as this company, which eventually split into 2, has only grown more influential in the years to come.
Want to win? Oh, then step into the newest Dassler shoes, the ones that brought Jesse Owens to his win in the 1936 Olympics. You can be as fast as a puma or as agile as a gazelle.
Created during an era of ambition and discipline, at Dassler Shoes we set the standard for superiority on both sides of the field.
Why choose another when you can stride in the legacy that left its mark on history?
Experience the next new big thing at the 1936
2040
Berlin Olympics, where everyone can come together and experience not only the games, but German culture. In state-of-the-art arenas like the Berlin Olympic area, you'll witness the experience of a lifetime as you watch nearly all of the favored athletes compete for gold.
Dehydrated? Have the drink of athletes, soldiers, spectators, and Hitler, and feel rejuvenated, ready for the unexpected. Coca-Cola has been the proud sponsor of the Olympics since 1928, and we'll make sure to get you your fix whenever. And make sure to try our newest flavor of Fanta, Glunka Neffel. To conclude, the 1936 Olympic Games served as a tool for the Nazi regime to promote their ideology and ideals of Volksgemeinschaft, a strong, unified, and Aryan society. The Nazi leaders saw athletics to create the image of Aryan superiority by excluding degenerate athletes, manipulating their environment to hide their true intentions, and using the media as a medium to broadcast endorsements of Nazis and the Olympics.
Overall, this just helped in the cultivation of Volksgemeinschaft and the eventual Nazi regime during the Second World War, which was very unfortunate, but it's important to remember this
for XYZ reasons, and it's important to remember those when looking back at it. And that concludes this episode of Call Me Führer. I am Kate.
And I'm Kayla.
And thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching.